Hello and welcome. I'm Jess Kentmans, guided by Equus, and this is your Horse Wisdom Insights for the week of February 8th. I am here inside for two reasons. There's an Arctic cold front that has moved in actually shortly after I did the video for last week. And secondly is that I hurt myself skiing just under a week ago. So this has been my home, living on the couch since last Wednesday. And it has given me a lot of ability to have perspective. And I guess if this week is bringing us into that, there's a new moon on Thursday on February 11th. And the idea of shift in perspective or shift in awareness, and the words that came when I was just kind of tuning into what wanted to come through in this video was rewriting the clause. And so almost it's that sense of recalibration. And I feel like where I was last week with the Horse Wisdom Insights versus where I am this week is kind of two completely different places. And yet both of these places I feel like personally have gifted me with the ability to see beyond my current reality. There's a sense of not reconciling with the future, but being part of that future and that excitement and that anticipation of what's to come. And that's part of what's bubbling to the surface. And yet there's also this sense of reconciliation with the past in a way that, even though I've been doing a lot of really taking time for myself to have this become conscious within me, these pieces, obviously I needed a way to not be able to even move out in the world to really anchor my physical body as well as my mental body, my emotional body, and my spiritual body into one place, so that I had to kind of face these things. And it's interesting because what happened was I was skiing and I landed on a jump, and it was on a double black diamond run, and I felt something snap in my leg. And then I went over upside down and landed kind of in a bush, or got caught in a bush. And at that point I knew there was something wrong, but I also knew I had to get down. So I got up and tried skiing, ended up upside down again because my right leg wouldn't hold me in. So then I proceeded to side slip down on my left leg, which I know through all of these insights through the horses have been showing me is that sense of being unstable on my left side. And so there's a lot of pieces that are all part of that. But I found it ironic that it was my left side that had to get me down this run. And I thought, well, once I get down to the bottom to the cat track, I can see if I can ski home. And that's when I had to call for help. A second piece in my life's journey is that the only ones I've called for help have been my animals. And I knew this might get a little bit emotional, but now not being able to go out to my animals, I haven't seen my animals since last Wednesday morning. For me, unless I'm on vacation and and even when I'm on vacation, I see animals. And so that's been having to realign myself without those support systems in my life. They're there, I can feel them, they're present with me. In a way that they are with all of us. The same as our guides and our ancestors. And even just saying that, it's like that ability to remember. And when me not being able to walk out and share this with the horses in a way that I was, part of the physical experience has actually helped open a door. I'm still opening it, or still reconciling with that. But that's what it feels like, this idea of rewriting the clause, that along the path of our life, the journey of our life somewhere, we wrote a script that kind of has been holding us to something that right now is really, really no longer serving us. And so if 2020 was kind of showing us this imbalance in our relationship with something. Then 2021 is helping us reconcile with that so that we can move with freedom and in a forward momentum with the reason why we came here, with these gifts, these reconciliation of these gifts inside of us, which includes being able to honor our ancestors, honor our connection to spirit, honor our connection to the animals, to the earth, to the legacy that we've been gifted with. And when we kind of get caught in our humanness in the world, sometimes it can feel very dense to have to work through it, turn and face it, all of these things. And yet there's this thing that's pulling us from here forward. And I know for me and my own experience with this, I've been locked into this certain way of movement in the world that really it's not serving me, and I can't continue to do that because there's part of me that's going forward and part of me that's stuck and holding on and locked down. And so if I want to do anything, I have to first start with myself. And the horses themselves have been phenomenal with holding this space for me, holding all of these energies for me so that I can see them for what they are. But until I am able to receive what that means and translate it on a felt sense, because knowing something is not the same as the felt sense experience of it. And so a lot of what I was feeling was frustration, but it was frustration with being able to get to that deeper core key. So with all of that, this kind of turned into a long video when I thought it would maybe be a short one. With all of that, again, it's that ability this week to notice what your world is reflecting to you. Pay attention to kind of what you're noticing, because what's really funny is I've known that my left leg is shorter than my right leg. I knew about this when I was 20 years old. But I needed this life, this journey up to thus far, to have all of these things play as a working model, I guess is the best way to say it, in order for me to grasp them in a way that makes sense to me. Because I wasn't ready to really listen or trust most people. I have a handful of you that thank you for the gift that you've enabled me to find you and receive feedback from you, because you've helped me get through this. But I think it's recognizing that piece that I didn't, or there was a part of me that didn't trust people. And yet if what I'm doing is in service to humanity, then I need to be able to trust the universe, to trust that what's coming to me is needed to be able to be received and gifted outside of myself in like this free flow. And so there was still a lot of pieces that I was protecting and holding on to, that as soon as I felt that leg snap, it was almost like a pressure relief valve, that it kind of a peace came over, not in the moment, but when I got home, it was just this sense of peace that finally, it was like that straw that broke the camel's back. It had snapped, and I have some ligaments that possibly have snapped also. So I'm rewriting my clause with how I move forward, and doing it in a way that is all of these 4 components, physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental, are having to reconcile with one another so that we don't leave any one piece behind. And these key pieces that are part of my past, I can see them from a different perspective, from one that is reconciling through that felt sense understanding of why I experienced what I have, and how that's actually been a gift to get me to where I am. Because sometimes, even though I knew what needed to be done, I probably wouldn't have taken the time without this physical pause or interruption to really have to face it. And so take that for what it's worth. And I guess to share, it's like there's another component to this too right now, that that peace, that working peace we've been holding it in our hands for so long that we don't even realize it's there. And so I'm actually going to do this for myself after, because I haven't received this information yet, but after this video, or even let's do this together, what is it that you're holding in your hands? And just take a breath and notice what sensation or memory or feeling or word or thought form or sense of recognition comes to you. Because when we hold something, it's like when you're holding something for so long, you don't even realize you're holding on to it anymore. And so it's almost just opening your hand and yourself up in a way that allows you to get a new feeling for it. And when we get a new feeling for it, we can create a new way of being with it. Because this piece that we're holding, that is ours, is a part of our pathway forward. I wanted to say our integration and our destiny, but it's actually a part of our pathway forward. And because I'm talking, I feel like I have to do this for myself after this video, but I'm curious to see what it is that comes to me, and I'll share it with you guys in the comments below if and when I receive it, this information for myself. But I would love to hear what this is for you guys, what kind of information you receive around it, because sometimes our pathway forward is dependent on another piece of this puzzle coming to us in a way that doesn't feel like our pathway forward. And again, I'm laughing because skiing is something I love to do, and at this point I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it again in the way that I love doing it. And part of me doesn't believe what I just said, but part of me is trying to be a realist. So there's all of those pieces that we kind of start to weigh for ourselves, but it's actually sidestepping that, and not to not take that into account, but to just witness this, whatever this is. And once we witness it, then we can realize and create a reality that is not dependent on, and not based on, but is utilizing, I guess is a good word, utilizing this piece of information. So I will leave this video ending here, and I would love to hear from you guys if you received anything out of this. And hopefully by next week, I will be able to at least be moving around enough to make it down the stairs and outside to the horses. And if not, then one day at a time, and we'll just see where things are at come next week. So much love from myself and all of the horses who have gathered around me in a different way to support this journey right now, and much love, and we will see you next week.